Dave Chappelle is, I guess, in hot water for comments that he made on his most recent stand-up special, The Closer, on Netflix. Comedian caught backlash from the LGBTQ plus community over this, and we are going to talk about this in depth. We're going to take our time with this one today on the Diamond K Show. Thanks for joining me. Welcome back. Welcome back. Your man Diamond K in here, of course, at the Diamond K Show, at Radio on Fire. And, you know, anytime Dave Chappelle drops a stand-up special, this comedy legend is probably going to ruffle some feathers. But this is comedy. That's what happens in comedy. Some people get made fun of. Their jokes obviously told. And Dave Chappelle is no stranger to facing some of the backlash over his jokes. So this is his sixth and potentially final stand-up special for Netflix called The Closer. We don't know what the paperwork is going to say. We don't know whether they're going to renew with him, and I think that they should, and they probably will. Dave Chappelle is 48 years old, and like many comedians, he does not hold his tongue, nor should he. I definitely have to salute Dave Chappelle for standing up, for not buckling to the pressure. Oh, and there's a whole lot of pressure. Dave Chappelle is a lot of things, and honest is also one of them. He's very honest in his comedy specials. If what he says offends you, I mean, that's part of comedy. That's part of art. It's part of art. As we see many times when the LGBTQ plus community, when that community is offended, when their feelings are hurt and they push back, many times artists, companies, corporations buckle and fold under the pressure. And we have seen that happen time and time and time again. That is not what is happening here. It is not what is happening here. Dave Chappelle doubling down on comments that he made about the transgender community in his previous special, the one called Sticks and Stones. So he's doubling down on things that he said during that special. And also, he shows no signs of pulling back what he said. No signs of it. Even after prominent, LGBTQ plus organizations have spoken out, even after they've come forward, even after people have said Netflix needs to drop it, and it, different artists are saying, actors or whatever, I'm not going to work with Netflix if they don't get, this or that. And I've often said on this program that just because you disagree with somebody doesn't mean you hating on them. Just because you don't like something does not mean that you fear it. And I've said that many times for many years. But there has been so much debate, so much controversy surrounding Dave Chappelle. Some people may be confused as to what he actually said. What did he say that has prompted so much negative energy? So we definitely have to keep this in context, because homophobia, transphobia, that's a blanket statement. Sometimes it applies. Sometimes that is the case. But just because somebody does not agree with something does not mean that it is homophobic. This is not just for that community. I mean, I feel like this about things across the board. right? I don't particularly like cats, right? So if I say, I don't like cats, right? Go to somebody, you got a cat. I ain't coming over there. I'm not hating on cats. I'm not feline phobic. No, I'm actually allergic to cats. So that's why I say it, right? And so if someone says that they don't like public displays of, affection from men or women, that doesn't mean that they are homophobic because they don't want to see Lil Nas X tonguing down one of his backup dancers. I didn't like when Madonna was tonguing down one of her backup dancers. It just looked crazy to me, right? And so many times when artists voice this opinion, voice, and you can have an opinion. When they voice this, folks are so quick. That's a transphobic comment. That's a an anti-gay comment. No, it's not. Now, there are examples of anti-gay comments, but just simply saying that you don't like certain things is not one. That's not an example of it. It's not. So the reason so many people think that Dave Chappelle is doubling down on his past comments is that he dedicated roughly the last third of his comedy special to talk about LGBTQ plus issues. That's what he did. He focused on that. And the only reason he's focusing on it is because it's come up so much, and he received so much backlash, not only from this special, but from specials, prior to that. And most specifically about the transgender community. This is a very sensitive group of people. And I reckon that sensitivity stems from the fact that it takes a lot of courage for them to come out and live their truth. So therefore they are sensitive. However, you as a member of the human family are not above criticism. You are not above somebody saying, hey, yo, you're doing too much, right? You're not above that. Nobody is above that. Nobody is above somebody else saying, hey, yo, you are doing too much. Dial it back some, right? Now, back to Dave Chappelle. He previously, caught this backlash for comments that he made in the Sticks and Stones comedy special, which was also on Netflix, as well as some other comedy specials. So during this portion of the latest special, The Closer, Dave Chappelle argued that anyone who was truly paying attention to his past work would know that he wasn't ever actually talking about the transgender community when he was making them the butt of his jokes. This is part of the genius of Dave Chappelle. He has a way of wording things. He's just good at what he does. And you can't hate on that. Dave Chappelle said that I have never had a problem with transgender people. If you listen to what I'm saying, clearly my problem has always been with white people. Okay. He added, go back tonight after the show. How much do I have to participate in your self-image? You shouldn't discuss this in front of black people. I know niggas in Brooklyn who wear high heels just to feel safe. I asked you, why is it easier for Bruce Jenner to change his gender than it is for Cassius Clay to change his name? That was deep, okay? He said, I'm gonna repeat this again. He said, I asked you, why is it easier for Bruce Jenner to change his gender than it is for Cassius Clay to change his name? Now, if you know anything about anything, when Cassius Clay changed his name to Muhammad Ali, there was a lot of backlash. Some people, Floyd Patterson specifically, refused to call Muhammad Ali the name that he wanted to be called. He actually whooped Floyd Patterson really badly, forcing him to call him Muhammad Ali, saying, "Say my name," and popping him, bow. What's my name? Bow, just to hammer that point. So that was the mindset of a certain group of people. They refused. Who is this black man to change his name? You know, that's where the Coming to America line, mama named Clay, I'm gonna call him Clay, that they were making fun of that mindset, but that was the mindset. How dare you change your name or say you're this or say you're that? So we go to Bruce Jenner, who decided that his gender is, you know, he's a female, and wants to change his name. That process, I think, was relatively smooth, even though many folks did not think that it was an actual thing. A lot of people celebrated that. Some people didn't agree with it. Some people did. And so this is obviously a point of opinion, for the most part, opinion, right? Some things are genetic facts, and we'll get down to that a little bit further down. But Dave Chappelle, of course, kind of reiterating some of these points over time. And Chappelle seemingly had a defense for these past statements. He was defending Harry Potter author J.K. Rowling. Some people were upset about that. There was a lot of talk about cancel culture. This is a buzzword that you've heard in the media in recent years. Cancel culture. Such and such is canceled. Oh, they said this, they canceled. And folks giving their opinions, wrong or right, their opinion. Some people becoming quote unquote canceled because their opinion is outside of the mainstream, or maybe it is the mainstream, but the mainstream has been bullied into not speaking because of the potential repercussions from said community. So J.K. Rowling is someone who is a feminist, but she obviously does not, I guess, include transgenders as a part of her radical feminism. She's talking about a woman, a birthed woman, right? And so they wanted to cancel her, and Dave Chappelle was defending her as well. And so that was something that Dave Chappelle said that he, agreed with her on that. The Harry Potter author agreed with her viewpoint. So that was something that riled up folks in the transgender community. Comedian also spent some time harping on the biological aspects of gender, the facts part, discounting that many critics and transgender activists have argued, diminishing this to a mere biology point rather than the social constructs of gender. You're saying you don't have the body parts, so you are not a woman, or you don't have these body parts, so you are not a man, right? So that has been a debate. That has been something that has been debated. Dave Chappelle said this: every human being in this room, every human being on earth had to pass through the legs of a woman to be on earth. That is a fact. That is true. I don't know why, but that makes some people uncomfortable. I don't know why, but that makes some people mad. He continued, Dave Chappelle, Now, I am not saying that to say that trans women aren't women. I'm just saying those pussies they got, you know what I mean? I'm not saying that's not pussy, but that's like beyond pussy or impossible pussy. That's funny. I mean, that's not funny. That's hilarious. Okay. Now, but at the same time, what he does is he takes a serious topic, he takes a serious situation and makes it humorous, but also talks about it from a real perspective. That makes some people uncomfortable. All right, that makes some people uncomfortable. You just tuning in. This is the Diamond K Show, of course, here on the all-new radioonfire.com, on Fire Television. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back and talk more about the Dave Chappelle special, talk about his explanation of defending the baby and some of his comments. We're also going to talk about Netflix taking a stance defending Dave Chappelle, and also whether or not the Dave Chappelle special is going to be canceled on Netflix. We'll talk about that and so much more on this topic right after this. The Diamond K Show is sponsored by Tasty Moscato. If you could pour sexy into a glass, this would be it. This seductive, smooth Moscato wine blended with vanilla takes your palate to a whole nother level of taste meat. Unlike most, Tasty Moscato can be deliciously paired with a variety of meats, cheeses, veggies, as well as desserts. It's the sweet taste of luxury that you've been craving. It is Tasty Moscato. Visit Tasty Moscato, search them on Facebook and also on Instagram. Tasty Moscato. So here on the program, we deliver the biggest political and trending news stories of the day with interviews and original reporting from across this country. Show is fun, show is upbeat, but I also want to expose what is really going on in this country. Radio on Fire is voices giving you the American story. So we're talking about Dave Chappelle and his latest special on Netflix and some of the backlash, some of the controversy that has come out of that. So Dave Chappelle spoke about rapper DaBaby in this special. And when I was talking about people buckling to the pressure, buckling to the will of the LGBTQ plus community, Dave Chappelle did not pull any punches in mocking them for canceling DaBaby. DaBaby made some comments that upset some people at a recent Miami area concert. He was forced to make several apologies as criticism led him to be dropped from some major concerts, costing him some money. That was, buckling to the pressure. Dave Chappelle said in the closer, he noted that the rapper suffered more career damage, a bigger speed bump in his career for the comments that were made that upset that community. He received more backlash for those comments than from the 2018 shooting that he committed that left a 19-year-old dead. Let's think about that for a minute. He said this, Dave Chappelle, part of the LGBTQ plus community doesn't know DaBaby's history. He once shot 19-year-old Jalen Craig and killed him in Walmart. This is true. DaBaby shot and killed a man in Walmart in North Carolina. Nothing bad happened to his career. Do you see where I'm going with this? Dave Chappelle said. In our country, You can shoot and kill a man, but you better not hurt a gay person's feelings. So, what is homophobic about that? He's stating facts. So it was reported at the time that the charges in that shooting were dropped after a key witness did not show up to testify. The baby claims that Craig was trying to rob him. Of course, Craig's family says that was not the case. In 2019, the baby told Billboard, "I didn't lose no sleep over the shooting." He said that it was unavoidable. So, I mean, I could go on and on talking about this. This is the vein that Dave Chappelle is referencing the LGBTQ plus community. I guess he wants the truth. He pretty much said that he wasn't going to be speaking about that community anymore. Said, "I'm not telling another joke about you until we are both sure that we are laughing together. I'm telling you, I'm done. I'm done talking about." So I mean, he said this, and I think that this is important. "All I ask from your community, with all humility, will you please stop punching down on my people?" So if you need some context, the phrase punching down typically is reserved when someone of a, quote unquote, higher status uses a platform to mock a person or a community on a perceived lower status. All right. Throughout the comedy special, Dave Chappelle noted how the phrase annoyed him when it was applied to his comments on the, LGBTQ plus community by critics, of course. So there's a slight truce that he tried to throw out there. I'm not sure if members of that community want to accept, the truce that he has proposed. I don't understand why anyone feels that his special, this stand-up special, should be canceled, should be taken down. I don't understand why. And if you are watching this or listening to this and you know why, I'd like to hear it, because I have not heard any valid reason why. And we're going to talk about Netflix, the CEO of Netflix, and what he had to say to his vast team at Netflix. There are some memos to the staff. There was a meeting on Friday. We're going to talk about that, and we're going to talk about the CEO of Netflix standing up and defending Dave Chappelle, to the dismay of many in the transgender community, even a few employees of Netflix. We're going to talk about that and much more about Dave Chappelle, the closer, the transgender community, and Netflix after this. It is the 10th annual Baltimore Music Awards. These awards were created to give recognition to Baltimore's entertainment community. Each year, the community has the opportunity to nominate and vote for the winners in each category. The 2021 categories include album, DJ, documentary, female artist, male artist, producer, inspirational artist, online radio station, online radio show, podcast, radio station, radio show, stand-up comedian, and web series. Winners for the 2021 Baltimore Music Awards will be announced Thursday, November the 4th, 7 p.m. live on radioonfire.com and on Fire Television. It's the 10th annual Baltimore Music Awards. Let your voice be heard at this year's celebration of Baltimore entertainment. Visit radioonfire.com/Baltimore Music Awards. So welcome back. Your man Dominic K in here. We are talking about Dave Chappelle. We're talking about, I guess I'll say controversy, because it has definitely been controversial. Some of the reaction to the legendary comedian's words. Some folks in their feelings, right, about this. And I don't see why. He did not talk about violence against the community. He didn't preach it. He did not. Okay. And a lot of times the word phobia is attached to something that it does not apply to. Is attached to things it does not apply to. Just because someone disagrees with, a lifestyle. And I think that what we really need to have is a difficult discussion. It's a difficult conversation, because you're talking about people's feelings. You're talking about how people feel. And that, of course, is a sensitive subject. That, of course, is something that people hold dear to their heart. Netflix is the company that is streaming these Dave Chappelle special, and have streamed 6 other Dave Chappelle specials. So Netflix is the company that's getting the pressure. So the CEO, the co-CEO, Ted Sarandos, voiced his support for Dave Chappelle, defended Dave Chappelle. Artistic freedom is different for stand-up, he said. Artistic freedom is different for stand-up. And it is. It is different. This is an entertainment vehicle, his stand-up special. So the Netflix co-CEO addressed staff members on the Dave Chappelle stand-up. You have a lot of people that work there that are not happy about the fact that Netflix is A, carrying this special, and B, not buckling to the pressure. Of course, Dave Chappelle has drawn criticism. And he's not walking away from the criticism. He's not buckling to the criticism. He is not stepping down or stepping back or away from the criticism. Last Friday, a memo sent after Netflix's quarterly business review, which is a 2-day gathering of the top 500 employees at the company. He offered some guidance to the management as to how they should handle upset employees that are angry, and talent that are speaking out against Dave Chappelle. We've talked about the fact that there are several that are, vowing, I'm not working with Netflix no more. They don't take down this, making demands. Of course, Netflix can't buckle to that pressure. Because if they buckle to that pressure, there's a whole lot of content streaming on their servers. They would have to take down a whole bunch of stuff. So anyway, the CEO offered this guidance, and there were 3 junior staffers who crashed this meeting. They weren't invited to the meeting. They're junior staffers. but they're upset about the Dave Chappelle thing. So they've been suspended, and one of them talked about the Dave Chappelle special on Twitter, and it's been falsely reported that they were fired because of those tweets that spoke out against the special. That's not true. They were disciplined because they barged into a meeting that they ain't had no business being in an attempt to make a statement, right? These three junior staffers tried to make a statement at Netflix in a meeting and just made fools of themselves. So the co-CEO of Netflix said that Dave Chappelle is one of the most popular stand-up comedians today, and we have a long-standing deal with him. His last special, Sticks and Stones, also controversial, is our most watched, stickiest, and most award-winning stand-up special to date. Right? Dave Chappelle is super successful. The arrangement that he has with Netflix, they're not trying to mess that up. Not trying to mess that up. The co-CEO of Netflix continued, as with our other talent, we work hard to support their creative freedom. Even though this means there will always be content on Netflix some people believe is harmful. I'm very glad that a corporation the size of Netflix is taking this type of stance. I am. Yes, there is going to be some things that I don't like on Netflix. You know what happens? I don't watch them. That's it. And I keep it moving, as should you. Something comes on there that you don't like, don't watch it. Don't support it. That's the best way. But all these people that are supposedly, allegedly, possibly offended by Dave Chappelle's comments, your anger and your talking about it has given it even more promotion. I'm going to tell you what. This is very honest here. I did not know that Dave Chappelle had a special until I saw the negative comments about he should be canceled on social media. Then I watched the special. I didn't even know it was happening. So I don't know if the LGBTQ plus community understands this, but you, in your anger against Dave Chappelle, have been the biggest promoters of the closer. Imagine the irony there. Anyway, the co-CEO, went on and talked about things along those lines with the Dave Chappelle special. In the memo, he drew a line between expressing artistic freedom and protecting employees in the workplace. Particularly in stand-up comedy, artistic freedom is obviously a very different standard of speech than we allow internally, as the goals are different. Entertaining people versus maintaining a respectful, productive workplace. He said this. So, I mean, it doesn't get to me any more obvious. Does not get any more obvious. Some of my favorite parts of his memo. Check this out. He said that I wanted to follow up on the closer Dave Chappelle's latest special, as several of you have reached out following the QBR, which is that quarterly business review, asking what to say to your teams. It never feels good when people are hurting, especially our colleagues. So I wanted to give you some additional context. Okay. This is a staff memo from the Netflix co-CEO. He said this: you should always be aware that some talent may join third parties in asking us to remove the show in coming days, which we are not going to do. Again, the co-CEO of Netflix, when talking about the Dave Chappelle special, folks talking about he needs to be canceled, needs to be removed. He says they are not going to do it. They are not going to remove the special, nor should they. So I'm sure that that's going to ruffle some folks' feathers. And you know what? You're going to get over it. You're going to get over it, and you're going to keep it moving. Okay? And hopefully this and other steps will continue to evolve this conversation and continue to get folks to realize that just because you are part of a certain community, that does not mean that you are above reproach. That does not mean that you are above criticism. That does not mean that you are above somebody saying, hey, yo, you're doing too much. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, TikTok, at The Diamond K Show, at Radio on Fire. Of course, I will be back here tomorrow with more of the program. I'm able to deliver our news and our views, of course, on The Diamond K Show because of our listeners, sponsors, and, of course, your donations. The Diamond K Show is powered by the people, and we love your support. Get breaking news, adult conversations, covering topics that are important. Visit radioonfire.com for our original radio podcast and, of course, On Fire television programs. I know some folks are going to not like some things that I've said, and I'm open to have a conversation. I'm definitely open to have a conversation, whether it is on this program, whether you send me an email, djdiamondk@gmail.com, whether it is on social media at The Diamond K Show, at Radio on Fire. I do not shy away from having any conversations. And, so definitely reach out to me if you have, something you want to say about anything that I have said. You made Diamond K. I will be back here tomorrow.